legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Last night's debate was a lot more civil than many people had expected, especially compared to some of the past presidential debates. These ones focused mostly on policy as opposed to personal attacks. Now, our team and I found that compared to past debates, there weren't as many conspiracy theories thrown around, especially from J.D. Vance, but there were still some lies in this debate. I'm Mia McCarthy. I'm a politics reporter at Politico. I was in the spin room last night, which is a place right next to the debate where a bunch of Republicans and Democrats come to explain why their candidate offered a better vision for America. And they basically go around talking to reporters, spinning the story of what happened during the debate. One of the things that our team noticed from the debate, first talking about J.D. Vance, he definitely attempted to make himself appear more moderate. That's not to say that he didn't lie at all. There were a few things in there. One of the most notable was when he talked to Tim Walz about a abortion law in Minnesota. He claimed that this law that Walz signed while he was in office basically allowed mothers to get abortions up to the 9th month and implied that babies were being killed. That is not true. That is not what happens in Minnesota. Killing babies is illegal in every state in the United States. One of the most notable parts of the debate was when Tim Walz acknowledged that he had lied in the past about being in China during Tiananmen Square in 1989. This was something that had been revealed recently, and many are going to remember his awkward and slightly uncomfortable answer that he gave, basically acknowledging that he had fabricated that in the past.
All I said on this was I got that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said.
Another lie we heard last night was from J.D. Vance in regards to the Haitians in Springfield. Now, while he didn't hone into as many conspiracy theories, especially around Haitians eating cats and dogs, like he normally says during his stump speeches, he did talk about how Springfield is overwhelmed because of illegal immigrants. The majority of the Haitians that he was talking about are here under temporary protected status. This means that they are here legally. One of the other lies from Tim Walz was about Project 2025 requiring people to register their pregnancies. That is not true. Project 2025 does have a lot more anti-abortion policies in it, but nowhere in it does it say that it would require people to register their pregnancies. One of the other things we heard from J.D. Vance was that 320,000 kids have been lost by DHS. This is not true. This is likely in regards to a DHS report that found that 32,000 unaccompanied minors did not show up for their immigration court hearings. Another thing that Tim Walz misspoke about was that illegal crossings have been down since the Trump administration. This is largely taken out of context. Yearly apprehensions have taken new highs during Biden's term, but overall illegal border crossings have started to decline, especially after Biden signed in a proclamation that banned most migrants from seeking asylum at the border. One of the other lies from Vance was that Trump had saved the Affordable Care Act when he had the option to destroy it. This is not true. Trump and his officials had tried to weaken the Affordable Care Act, especially after trying to repeal it. Overall, Vance had the most lies that needed more context provided to them. There were still some issues with the fact-checking throughout the night. Originally, CBS had claimed that they were not going to be fact-checking the candidates and that each candidate would have to fact-check their opponent. But about halfway through the night, some of the moderators had added context to certain things, and there was also a QR code on screen that was supposed to provide fact checks, but appeared to not be working. At the end of the day, Vance definitely came out stronger during this debate, which wasn't a surprise for almost anyone. Republicans knew going in that Vance was a key communicator, was the Trump campaign's attack dog. Meanwhile, Walz had set up pretty early on that he was not a good debater, that this was not his arena, while Vance, this is exactly what he was put out to do. I think one of the biggest takeaways as well from this was that Vance has really reset himself and redefined himself after a less than smooth rollout. Going into the debate, Vance had pretty low approval rates. While we don't know the effect of this debate so far, he was able to come across as likable, as relatable, as someone who understood his policy, again, very reminiscent of more of an old school politician than what we've been used to in the last few cycles. And even though it was, around this MAGA movement, he was very good on his feet. It showed a new version of Vance that I think people who had really only heard about his comments about childless cat ladies, it really defined him in a different light on the national stage. As for does this actually matter? It's unclear, but the people who are actually tuned in to the vice presidential debate likely already know who they are going to vote for. It may sway a few undecided voters if they did tune in, but for the most part, vice presidential debates have much lower stakes compared to the presidential ones.